Welcome to the Epic Ratings Eventing podcast. And listeners, we have another cup of tea show for you, very kindly supported by our friends at NAF. We'll be talking to one of the competitors heading off to the NAF 5-star Bramham BE80 Championships on the 6th to 8th of June. So welcome to the show, Tori Henderson. Thank you for joining me.
Hello.
So before we get stuck into talking a little bit about the championships and some of your prep, like we always do on a cup of tea show, we will ask you, what are you drinking today?
I'm actually drinking Sprite at the moment.
Sprite? I haven't had a Sprite in ages. That makes me want to go out and get one now because I've just got water and I'm very boring. So Bramham is fast approaching, but before we get stuck into chatting a little bit about your prep, tell us a little bit more about you and how you got into eventing.
So I am 32 years old and I work on a yard down in East Sussex. I got into eventing really. My boss gifted me quite a quirky, was hunt horse at the time, and I've always groomed in eventing, groomed for eventing and stuff like that. But yeah, I got given the horse that I am taking to Bramham, and yeah, fell in love with it. He's quite a busy horse, so the eventing really suited him. So that's I've always had a love for it, but never been a rider as such. I've always been behind the scenes. So yeah, that's how I got into it and qualified for Bramham.
And do you feel any more at ease when you're eventing because you've seen it all before, because you were a groom and you've been behind the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel at home when I'm eventing. I'm very lucky that I know the format and how it works as such. I'm only grassroots rider, but yeah, definitely feel at ease, already knowing the background and the format of it.
And tell us a little bit more about Counterpart. He's the horse you'll be taking to Bramham this year. You said he was a gift given to you, but what is he like as a character?
Oh, Pete, he's lovely. Stable name Pete. He's very kind, gentle, quite a little nervous character. He takes a lot of nurturing to come out of his shell as such. But he is the easiest horse on the yard to deal with. He's very polite. If you can convince him that kisses aren't too terrifying, he loves a kiss and a cuddle. He's easy to do on the ground. Ridden wise, can be a little bit unpredictable. However, he has, grown out of that at the age of 17, but he's got much better since he became a sole horse and moved away from hunting, really. But he gives me everything. He gives me 100%, and he tries his hardest. He's a lovely boy.
I absolutely love that he's called Pete. I think that's an amazing stable name.
Bless him. It suits him as well. He's definitely a Pete. Perfect Pete or panicky Pete or precious Pete. It kind of depends what day of the week it is.
Oh, that's so sweet. And actually, you mentioned he's 17 and you've been doing British eventing since 2021. So he came into eventing a bit later on in life. How did you find that, introducing him to eventing when he was a bit older?
Yeah, he actually took to it really well. So I was quite lucky that I'd ridden him for quite a long time before I took him eventing, and we done various bits like inter-hunt relays and sort of show jumping and a bit of showing, and so I had a good enough relationship with him, and he actually took to it really well. And I look back to our first BE to now, actually I'd say definitely with the cross country as well, that's his favourite bit. He's brilliant.
I suppose his hunting background coming through there, he absolutely loves that.
Yeah, absolutely. He will have the odd look, a colourful plant or something out of the ordinary, but he is sort of 99.9% normally he's always on the money. So yeah, he's a good boy.
And you now currently work at a hunt yard. How have you found incorporating your work with eventing? Has it made you braver eventing because you're working out on the hunt yard every day?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why we both find cross country our strongest and most preferred phase, because again, hunting background, you get stuff thrown at you that you're not expecting. You have to sit up, you have to ride what you got in front of you, and that definitely pays off and shows for us in the cross country phase. Absolutely.
So the wet spring that we have has been no issue for you guys?
No, absolutely not. We've been really unfortunate because we've lost the majority of our runs. But the wet and the mud is something that would not would not faze us at all if we got the chance to run in the mud.
And actually, on that note of your prep runs, you've lost a few of them, but how has your prep been going so far?
So it started off, we started off in March at Munstead, and then it kind of went a bit downhill, really. So I've had nothing until the weekend just gone. We went to Tweedledown, but yeah, we kind of lost Chilham, and I tried to get run sort of out of the area, but because everyone everywhere had the same idea, so we got waitlisted, and all I kept thinking was this is not going well in Bramham. Is really, really approaching. But after the run at the weekend, I feel prepared. We've got one more run before we head off to Yorkshire, but yeah, I'm happy considering it hasn't gone how I planned it to go.
It can be quite unnerving, can't it? Because you have your plan and you think, yeah, I've got this written down, and then it all starts to crumble and you're like, oh no, how do I put this all back together again?
Absolutely, and that's kind of what happened. I was getting more and more doubt in my mind, going, we're not ready to go off to the championship. And yeah, I was becoming quite nervous up until I actually crossed the finish on Saturday. I really wasn't confident in terms of preparation. I like to be kind of over prepared for something. So yeah, driving all that way to Bramham kind of without the runs that I wanted was really quite making me nervous, but I feel a lot more at ease now.
I'm glad it settled your nerves. And I know that Bramham has been on your mind for a while. You've had your eyes set on it. What was it like actually qualifying for Bramham?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a roller coaster for me. So I remember our qualifier. He was super. He went out into the cross country in pole position. I was super nervous. I was so nervous. So I went out in sort of, right in the front, and then we had a bit of a sat nav error mid course. I think I was just so nervous, and I was so set on. I keep thinking, like, he's 17, the years are ticking away, like it's difficult to even get a national qualifier, ticket. So I just thought, I think I just must have been so nervous and had a bit of a sat nav error. Luckily, didn't cross my tracks or do anything stupid like get us eliminated. So finished kind of, I think we finished 9th in our section, which is like a top 10. That's brilliant. That's great. But at the time, it hadn't got me a ticket to Bramham. So I was beyond gutted. I thought I'm never, ever going to get there again. Especially I've got 2 small children, so it's really difficult to try and fit it all in. So when I had that email from BE to say that, I had qualified because it was the top 50% of my section, and I actually thought it was the top 20%. So when I realised I had, because I was in the top 50, I kind of, the feeling was amazing, because I genuinely thought that the dream had gone. So yeah, it was amazing.
That's really hard when you go out in pole position, because it's not like when you're in second place and you're still like, oh yeah, I could fight for the win. It's all to lose, and it's such a nerve-wracking thing to have to deal with.
Absolutely, and it was a big championship course, so you kept hearing people kind of run into trouble, or had to run out or get eliminated, and I'm very lucky that my horse is brilliant at cross country, but I think I was just so nervous. Got the first 5 fences out the way, and I just went totally blank. Went through there was 2 gateways, and I went through the wrong one and realised very quickly what I'd done. So luckily managed to sort of spin back round and not get myself eliminated and carry on. But what I now don't do is look at kind of the positions and kind of the placings before I just try and ignore it all throughout the day, really, and kind of try and get my job done without putting any pressure on myself.
Yeah, try and just focus on your own performance rather than the leaderboard.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's good work.
So you've got 2 young children. How do you juggle eventing, children, and work? Because it's a lot going on for you.
Yeah, it is difficult. But I'm very lucky. The yard that we're at is very supportive, and they help me, and we've got very good facilities, and that makes it a lot easier. I can do most of my sort of training at home. That helps. That takes off a lot of pressure. But yeah, it is difficult. It's just constantly juggling, because I go to a lot of events on my own. Just that's how it works. I kind of I've got friends at events, but I do the grooming and riding myself. So it's not an option really to take the children with me. So it is a big juggling act. I am very lucky that my mum is very hands-on, and my partner, he's a farmer, but he will help absolutely when he can help with the children. So he'll help me over the Bramham week. It's just a juggling act, really. It's just finding the right balance, which it does involve a lot of mum guilt, but we get there in the end.
Oh, I have massive respect for any mums who are out there working, eventing, doing any sport, because, you know, I'm 23 and can just about sort myself out, let alone everybody else.
Oh, we get there. It is tough, and sometimes, like, especially if you have a bad day, you think, oh, it's just not worth it. Like, but of course it is worth it, because, you know, you get to qualify and do things like Bramham. So yeah, it is definitely worth it in the long run.
Yeah, it's just juggling the highs and lows. On that low day, you think, oh, you know, I could have been back home with the kids. But then when the big days like this come, it makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely, it really does. Yeah.
Have you ever been to Bramham before?
I have. I groomed at Bramham, so I kind of think what year it is. It must be 2012. I think I groomed, which was at that point a 3-star. So I groomed for my friend Sam Penn, or is now Sam Sweeney, and we took 2 horses, and it was without a doubt one of the best weeks of my life. It was brilliant. I love it. It's one of my favourite events. The atmosphere, like, it is just brilliant. It was lovely.
So it must be a great feeling knowing that you're coming back there, because they've got their 4-star running. It's a true championship, to go back there, but for yourself this time.
I know. I never thought at the time. I never stood there and gone, you know, I'm going to ride at Bramham, because it's amazing. The feeling is amazing to think that I get to go back and take my own horse and myself and ride round. So that's exciting.
So what are your aims for your championship this year? Have you got any ideals that you would really like to achieve?
Yeah. I mean, a double clear is the ultimate, isn't it? I just want to, for me, feel that I've done the best I possibly can for my horse. He's quite a tricky, tense horse. So if I can keep him, I think it will really, really benefit him doing the dressage on a different day to the jumping, because that then isn't in the back of my mind. So I don't have to think, you know, constantly, next I've got show jumping, next cross country. So I think that will help. So if I can just ride a nice, calm, relaxed test, we're kind of around the 30 mark normally. So I think in our NQ we are 31.3. So if I can I know what we're capable of, but sit around that mark and then just do the best I can for the jumping phases, and that is my aim, really. I haven't, of course, everyone stands there and visualizes that, you know, them winning, but yeah, if I can just do the best I can for me and my horse, then I'll be more than happy.
I think that's a great goal to have, is just focus on you and your horse, and then you can't get too wrapped up in everything else.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And is there any particular part that you're most looking forward to about the couple of days up there?
Oh, definitely across country. Definitely across country. I look at the course pictures from last year, and it is like the mini 4-star. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about the cross country. I think we'll have the best time.
Oh, well, best of luck, Tori. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to us about your prep for Bramham.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed hearing Tori's story on her road to the NAF 5-star Bramham BE80 Championships. And thank you, NAF, for, of course, supporting the championships and this Cup of Tea show. And we'll be back soon with more on the Eck Ratings Eventing podcast.